Alrighty everybody, we are just hours away from Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 5, which in case you guys did not know, really is going to set up everything for the finale of the series. Basically, Episode 5 is going to become a real teaser in a sense of what's to take place in Episode 6, and exactly how the struggle between both Kenobi and Darth Vader is going to be further explored. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, it is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars right now is that unfortunately, a lot of fans are very unhappy about what's been going on with the Kenobi TV show, and we see the proof there on Rotten Tomatoes, even though I know Rotten Tomatoes gets a bad rap at times of how a lot of times it's very inaccurate. Now, in this case, I think it's very accurate because we see it dropping and then slightly going up a little bit, and then dropping again. A lot of fans on there just are not liking this series. If you guys want to go ahead and check out the Rotten Tomatoes reviews, like the actual comments, that's when you know it's actual people, like, really expressing their concern about the show. But moving on from all of this, with the Kenobi series, alright, Episode 4 specifically, I think, is the actual episode that did a number on fans, and to myself as well, because of how poorly it was directed, how poorly it was edited. The pacing was absolutely horrible in my opinion. I think it was the worst episode, and not just that, it was the shortest episode. When you have a 6-part series, you don't throw out a 35-minute episode, I'm sorry, but if you look at a show out there on Amazon, for example, like The Boys, it's actually quite surprising how that show is able to obtain a full 1 hour per episode, and yet a show like Kenobi cannot even obtain something like that. But anyways, I digress. Moving on from all of this, alright, what's even all the more intriguing has a lot to do with actress Daisy Ridley and what she had to say about the Kenobi TV series when she was questioned about her time on the set of the Star Wars films. Now, with actress Daisy Ridley already in the talks with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni for her to return in a handful of cameos in future live-action projects by Jon and Dave, she was eventually questioned about her experience with the past Star Wars movies that she worked on and her thoughts about the Kenobi series after she got on the subject of the original Rey Kenobi concept. Daisy Ridley went on to state the following: "You know, I have to be honest, I decided to watch the series because my cousin is very much a Star Wars fan and really wanted me to get into it with her since she just loves Star Wars, and to my surprise, she was a bit surprised at the show. If I can add in my 2 cents to the series, what I have to actually say is that one thing there, of course, that I can see is that the fans are giving a very similar series of feedback that what happened with The Last Jedi. And I really do believe that this has to do with the fact that Kenobi is getting a similar treatment that Luke did in The Last Jedi, which many fans just didn't like that at all. So I am quite surprised to see that they are doing that all over again. It almost feels to me like a reincarnation of The Last Jedi. I mean, I am not the biggest Star Wars fan, really, but I will admit that and be honest, but it doesn't take an expert to realize that some poor choices were already made with this show, and of course I can understand where the fans are coming from. I don't really want to get too far into this, but me and my cousin were watching the show because I just love Ewan, and I got the liberty of meeting Hayden on the set of Episode 9, where he was lending voices of Anakin, so I just had to support them, you know? And if I am being honest about this, they could have done 1,000 times better. I mean, I do enjoy the show to a degree. It is entertaining, yeah, sure, but I'm no expert on Star Wars. I'm not really the one to be asking or being questioning these. I'm not really a Star Wars fan per se, but I will say that they could have done a lot better and that this series needed some work for sure. When I was working on 9, I always heard the stories of the Kenobi movie and how that was not going so hot, and how they were thinking of making it into a show. So let me just stop right here of what Daisy is actually saying. Now, I think it's not anything new here that the fans always suspected that Daisy Ridley wasn't really a Star Wars fan. This is probably maybe the 3rd time that she admitted this. I mean, she revealed this, I think, during the promotions of Episode 9 and even Episode 7, that she didn't really know anything about Star Wars. She's not really a Star Wars fan, quote unquote, like how you look at Mark Hamill and how he's somewhat of a fan, or somebody as big as Mark Hamill's son, Nathan, who is a big Star Wars fan. I mean, that's what you call a Star Wars fan. But overall, Daisy Ridley is really pointing out quite a number of things here, even not as a real Star Wars fan, admitting that they could have done 1,000 times better. And you know what? It's the truth. They could have really done 1,000 times better. Let's be real about this. You know, let's not sugarcoat anything. The Kenobi series needed much work. They rushed this series out like no tomorrow. I always thought it was a little worrisome, and I brought this up about 6 months ago. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I always felt a little concerned that it only took them 2 months to film the series. Just 2 months. 2 months and change. And with that recent 35-minute episode, it's technically like we only have 5 episodes of Kenobi. And of course, you gotta factor in a lot of credits, recaps, intros. It takes away a lot of screen time. It really does. So with that being said, of course, moving beyond all of this, alright? She goes on to say that I just figured that it's Disney and they could have done so much better, and why, oh why, did they short sell Kenobi when pretty much all of the other shows are going on to get multiple seasons? I've heard the talks that they are apparently doing a season 2, but I don't know. I'm not really all that into this. Who knows? All I can say is that I know many fans that are relatives of mine, either because of my involvement in Star Wars or just grew up with the Star Wars franchise, and it has not been getting the best traction from what I can tell. It really reminds me of what happened with The Last Jedi. Many fans hated us, and it really stung. Like, it stung bad. I worked so hard on that movie, and to see it universally rejected was gut-wrenching. It took me months to recover from that. I really have to get that off my chest. It was a sad day when the movie came out. But life goes on, right? It's just business at the end of the day, and it's just a movie. So Daisy Ridley makes a fair point there, I mean, sure, it was probably very painful for her, but at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, it is just entertainment, it is just Hollywood making these production features and such, but when it comes down to Star Wars, this is where I have to defend Star Wars. Star Wars is on a whole different level of entertainment. It is actually a way of life in a sense, because it has so many lessons embedded in the stories, it has so much mythology thrown into the show and into the movies out there that are taken from real world mythology, and it really has a lot of elements of the real world thrown into the franchise. That's why Star Wars in itself really feels like, something truly magical. I really can't explain it. I don't think anybody can truly explain it. It's not like Marvel, it's not like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. It is something of its own. It has its own entity in a sense of how it inspires people. And when you have, creators over at Lucasfilm breaking that inspiration and breaking that motivation to look up to something like this, that's when you get a lot of backlash, and that's exactly why Star Wars fans are very much, outspoken, when it comes to problems with these movies at times, or in this case, this show. So that's exactly why. They're getting mixed up with the fandom being the most toxic with the fandom being the most passionate. That's how I see it. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.